Hello everyone, I am back with one more solution video for IIT JAM 2025 paper for economics. We have been discussing a lot of solutions to the questions asked in 2025 paper. So here I am again discussing solution for my question number 36, which is a MSQ question, MSQ, which is multiple select question. And we have to choose the correct options out of the given ones. So let's see. Which of the following is or are correct according to classical macroeconomic school? Now you have to rule out whatever you feel is not correct. That is the best way of attempting this kind of question. Let's say long run aggregate supply curve is vertical. Now, first thing is these questions, the question you're seeing on your screen right now, can be done if and only if you're very clear about your concepts. So MCQ with the guesswork can still fetch you marks, but in MSQ, you need to be very clear about concepts. So when I talk about classical macroeconomic school, all the concepts you have studied about classical should definitely get back to your mind and should be reflected therein. So that whenever you are reading any option, you can write whether it is correct or incorrect. Let's see. Long run aggregate supply curve is vertical. So this is true because we know this thing. This is a distinct feature of classicals that you get an aggregate. The aggregate supply curve is over here with respect to price and output is vertical, right? This is a key feature of classicals that in long run it will be vertical. So this is true. Option B, if long run aggregate supply curve is vertical, changes in aggregate demand affects prices but not output. Now, if we have a look, if we are having a vertical aggregate supply curve, changes in aggregate demand curve looks like this. Now, if you change the aggregate demand, let's say it shifts upward. So aggregate demand shifts to AD dash. What is happening? Only the prices are changing. There is no change in output. Because of vertical aggregate supply curve, the output cannot be changed because we believe that full employment is being achieved. So now whenever the demand is rising, it is only going to put an inflationary pressure and hence rises the price because there are no resources to cater to that additional demand. So only prices will rise and not the output. So if long run aggregate supply curve is vertical, changes in aggregate demand affects prices but not output. This statement is also true. Option C, if long run aggregate supply curve is vertical, changes in aggregate demand affects output but not prices. This is in contradiction to option B. So hence I would call this as false. I know this is completely opposite and cannot be called true. Now option D, vertical aggregate supply curve implies that output is independent of the money supply. So you must have studied about neutrality of money or your classical dichotomy in classical macroeconomics school, which says that money supply has no role in deciding the aggregate supply of the economy, right? So that is the neutrality of money in the classicals, which is again true. So because of this, I had to choose the correct option. Because of this, option A, option B, and option D would be my correct options. And hence in exam, I would choose A, B, and D. So if you wish to read the explanation to these options, it is presented here. You can definitely give it a read. So solution is A, B, D. So long run aggregate supply is vertical. This is true. This again, option B, that it does not change output but only affects prices is also true. Option C is false. We know that. And option D, which talks about classical dichotomy and money neutrality, it says that money supply only affect nominal variables like prices and not the real variables like output. All right. So this statement is also correct. I hope you will find this video helpful. Through this video, your basics for the classical macroeconomic school will be revised. So if you find this video useful, if this has helped you in brushing up your concept for classical school, please like to our channel, subscribe to our channel to get more such videos because we are going to discuss more questions from your IIT JAM 2025 paper. And I will see you soon in another video with one another solution. All right. Thank you for watching.